Okay, this was just a quick video to kind of clarify the two different factoring processes we've talked about, which are factoring by grouping versus factoring by FOIL. These methods are good for factoring trinomials when the coefficient of x squared is not 1. I have one example we'll look at, and we'll do it by both methods, just so you can really know which method you seem to prefer. Okay. They're both good methods. You can like both of them, you can use both of them, you can use just one of them. So that's why I just want to make sure you are clear what each method looks like. So I'm going to take this as the example, 2x squared plus 11x plus 5. I'm going to do this first by grouping and then second by FOIL. We will of course get the same result regardless of which method we use. So, to do this by grouping, our process will look like multiplying the first term, coefficient on the first term, which is 2, times our last term of 5. And now I need to find factors of this product that add to my middle term. So here we have our product is 10, different ways to multiply to 10, 1 times 10 or 2 times 5. The pair there that adds to the middle term of 11 would just be 1 times 10. Because 1 plus 10 is 11. So when we're working this by grouping, the second line will look like just a rewrite of the middle term. I'm going to take that 11x and rewrite it as 1x plus 10x. So that's our second line, really just rewriting that middle term. Now I'm going to create two groups of 2, hence the name factoring by grouping. I have a first group, which is 2x squared plus x. I have a second group, which is 10x plus 5. I now need to find the greatest common factor of each group. So when I look at 2x squared plus x, I'm going to say that the greatest common factor of those two terms would just be x. Numerically, they don't have anything and they each have 1x. So when I factor that x out, I'll be left with 2x for the first term and 1 for the second term. That takes care of our first group. For the second group now I'm looking at 10x plus 5. They both share a factor there of 5. If I factor a 5 from 10x, I'm left with 2x. Take a 5 from 5, we're left with just 1. Okay, and now you'll notice that we have these common pieces here. That's a good sign, those binomials better match. So I'm going to leave my final result as the common 2x plus 1 term multiplied by the values out front, which were x and 5. Okay, so that's it for that one. Final result, 2x plus 1 times x plus 5. And then looking at that very same problem now, let's think about it by the FOIL method. FOIL is a little bit less structured feeling. It's more of a trial and error, guess and check method. And pretty much what I'm going to do here is I'm going to talk about factors of 2 for a moment, and then factors of 5. So it turns out that the only way to multiply to 2 is 1 and 2. Only way to multiply to 5 is 1 and 5. I don't have to worry about negatives here because all my terms are positive. So I'm just going to put a few possibilities in place here, and then we'll figure out which possibility is the right one. So I could say I have 2x and x, giving me back my 2x squared. And I could put my 1 first and then my 5. But I also could keep that 2x and x in place, but switch the order of 1 and 5. Put the 5 first and the 1 second. So those are two possibilities that I know for sure will give me back the right first term and the right last term. That's what I know for sure. What I now need to check is which of these two options will also give back the proper middle term. To check for the middle term, I really just have to do the outer and the inner products. So checking for our first option here, if I do my outer terms, I'll get 10x, my inner terms, I'll get 1x. That adds up to a middle term of 11x. That's what I wanted. Perfect. So that one worked out pretty well. We found our result really quickly. But just to prove the point that that was the only one that worked, our outer here was 2x, our inner was 5x, that would have added to 7x, which of course would not be the 11x we were looking for. So what we found here is that the results should be 2x plus 1 multiplied by x plus 5, and that will be identical to what we found before. So just to flip back to that last one, here we had the 2x plus 1 times x plus 5. Here it is found by another method. So that was a fairly straightforward problem. The problems can be a little bit harder, right, based on different values, but hopefully that at least clarifies the difference between factoring by grouping and factoring by FOIL.